Skirt, skirt. Told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly. We get it bouncing like Betty's, I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli. It's leaving I levy, no sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do, hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm cool. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit up my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. We've got some college basketball to talk about today. It was been a crazy last 15 minutes. We had some pretty crazy technical issues that kind of went from panic attack to this is okay, and now suddenly again, maybe it's not okay. So
that's just a microcosm of life sometimes, you know?
Yeah, so quick synopsis of what happened in case anybody was wondering. So I usually run the polls by signing into the Capwise account in an incognito tab on my computer. And then in order to sign into the account, I get 2FA text messages. But I was not getting the 2FA messages from Twitch. So I couldn't sign into the account. So we had to get Ben to set up the polls on his account, which took several minutes to get set up. And now suddenly Ben's computer is kind of frozen. So we might not have polls either way.
Yeah, and somehow, some way, you guys can still see me. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so the Discord video chat is working, but apparently literally everything else about Ben's computer is frozen.
Ooh, I think we're back.
Oh, we're back? Okay.
I'm scared to do anything. Uh-oh. I'm wondering what's causing it. I don't know if it's a Chrome issue.
I don't know. We are hanging on by a thread. But we are here. We're ready to talk about some games. It's bright in my room. Yeah, it is. It's usually not this bright. I don't know why the lighting is like this. Imagine if I turned on my that would be insane.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, Discord is indestructible.
Yeah, so since we're running quite behind on time, we're gonna go ahead and hop into category number 1, and hopefully Ben is able to throw up a poll.
I think we're good.
Degenerates only.
I was looking at Ballsack State -4 against Dickhead State. Ballsacks covered their last 10 straight games, and my boy says they're a wagon.
So category number 1, Degens only. I see the poll. We are good.
Sweet.
So the Degens only game today involves everybody's favorite team to fade, especially from last year, Chicago State. Chicago State going on the road today against Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin favored by a resounding 19 points today. Over-under in this game set at 136.5. So, Ben, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, first of all, Chicago State was the IUPUI of last season.
Yeah, they've been the IUPUI of this season for, like, the last 5 years or something.
And arguably, they were in a worse situation because they literally packed their bags and said, we're done for this.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least IUPUI is, like, trying to stick it out. And, I mean, IUPUI covered the last game, and they're doing walk-on tryouts, so it is what it is. But we're talking about this one today. And, yeah, the Chicago State team, as we know, pretty bad. They rank near the bottom in both offense and defense. And taking on a Stephen F. Austin team that they lost to by 20 at home in their last game. So no surprise that the spread is kind of where it's at, Nick.
Yeah.
As far as this one goes, like, I want to make this clear. I'm not betting this, but I have to go with Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Ben. I like Stephen F. Austin here. I don't know if this is like it's definitely not a smash play. I know that it's not a hammer. It's not a super goat max whale, whatever. But I do think this is actually going to be something I have a little bit of action on. I think that this is a good spot for them. Like we were saying, they won that game by 20 points at Chicago State last time out. And it wasn't really because of anything weird happening, right? It was just Stephen F. Austin executed. They actually got outshot from 3. Stephen F. Austin did in that game. So there's room for improvement. I like the Lumberjacks here. Model has this one at 80 to 56. I see Drake's Best Bets in chat, who I believe also has a model, says 80 to 59. So we're basically at the same exact spot. Mm-hmm. I have just a couple less points for Chicago State than he does. So that's nice. I like Stephen F. Austin here. And Ali was saying Chicago State covers this year. That is true. Chicago State definitely is doing a better job covering this year. I mean, they were incredibly bad even against the spread last year. And I think that had a little bit of a residual effect at the beginning of this year.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was just like gearing up for fade Chicago State round 3, round 4, whatever, in this college basketball season. And they did get a lot of covers at the beginning of the year. This is not like the literal worst team in the country like it has been for the last couple of years.
Nick, that's going to be like IUPUI next year.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think IUPUI can stay that bad playing in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I think with the new head coach, they'll turn it around. I mean, they're not going to be winning the Horizon probably next year, but they're going to be a lot better. You can only go up, and that's what we saw with Chicago State, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Chicago State is having a resurgence. They're all the way up to 338 in KenPom this year. That's 20 spots off the bottom. That's huge for them.
Does KenPom give out ribbons?
Even if they did, I still don't know if Chicago State gets one.
Congratulations, you guys moved up 10 spots in the KenPom.
Biggest improvement, plus 20.
Who would be the biggest improvement?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Actually, I think the answer for biggest improvement might be Kennesaw State this year.
That's a good one.
They've been like a bottom 10 team for 5 or 6 years, and they're up at 229 right now.
Yeah, that's a good one. Colorado State? No, they were already
good.
Yeah.
Thank you, JFK, for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that very much.
Thanks, man.
And poll results are in. I have to stay on top of this because I can't go over and look after the poll disappears.
Oh, yeah. Let me know if I have to do anything additionally.
But it looks like the over, 136.5, is the chat lean here. SFA minus 19 and the over was the number 1 vote getter. Chicago State plus 19 and the over was number 2. So with 75% of the vote, chat's lean is going to be the over 136 and a half.
Righty.
And again, since we got off to a late start, we're going to keep up tempo and pace and now move along to category number 2.
Public intoxication.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
So, category number 2, public intoxication, of course, is a game where one side has a lot of the public action, and not so surprisingly, Auburn ranked now all the way down to number 2. They have dropped off the number 1 spot after they lost to Arkansas. At home against Vanderbilt, favored by 13.5 points, getting 90% of the bets. We actually might even be seeing a little bit of RLM, reverse line movement, in this game. It's looking like this opened up at Auburn minus 15, And despite them getting 90% of the bets, it is down to minus 13.5. So, Ben. What are your thoughts on this one?
Should I put my Crabs hat on right now?
Yeah, you should.
All right. All right. If it's Crabs, you say something and you're like, this makes no sense. So I'm on Vandy. Right? Yeah. No, so first of all, I want to be on record with Auburn, right? I had a vision, and I'm not even joking. And I don't even know where this came about, but I thought about this. I think Auburn is going to be that team where everyone has them going to the Final Four, and they lose. I don't want to say in the second round because they're probably going to be a 1 seed, but I could see them having a hiccup. And I know this has nothing to do with today's game, but I just wanted to be on record to say that. So if they make the Final Four, please let me know. Hold me accountable. Anyways, as far as this game goes, it's getting to the point where Auburn is just they're getting almost too much love point spread wise, but at the same time, when they get going, they can cover, a 13, 15 point spread in this pretty easily. It's a game that I don't want to have any action on personally, and I also haven't watched Vanderbilt play enough. So for me, I'm going to be super square after saying all that, and I'm just going to lean with Auburn at the spot. Now, one last thing I want to mention is if we can give out a lean for the over-under, I would rather give out the over at 143.5. But if that isn't what we're doing here, I'm fine with Auburn 13.5.
Yeah, with the public intoxication, we've got to go.
Okay.
I'm
with the public.
With the public.
Yeah, call me a square.
Yeah, so I like Auburn here as well. 13.5 on the one hand is kind of a lot of points. But on the other hand, is it a lot of points? This Auburn team is insane at home. They're really good. They are 12-1 against the spread on their home court this year. They've been knocking off teams by way more than this number. Their last few home games in SEC play, they knocked off Texas A&M, who's as good or better than this Vanderbilt team, by 17. They knocked off Bama by 19 at home. They knocked off Oklahoma by 18 at home. They beat Kentucky only by 9, but still, that's a 9-point win against a team that's much, much, much better than this. 23 over Georgia, 12 against Florida, 15 against LSU. I mean, even 13 against Murray State, who's been in the top 25. That's like their last however many home games. Model has Auburn by 15, I believe. 15.5. So at this 13.5 number, I'm not scared by the RLM. Give me Auburn here as well.
And Nick, one thing I wanted to point out, this is super interesting. If you look at Auburn's last 6 games, their 3-point percentage has not been great.
Mm-hmm.
But they're coming off a 3 for 25 performance from the perimeter. Do you think that seeing kind of this trend, like, and again, I'm talking like 6 for 28, 5 for 21, 6 for 26, and then that 3 for 25. Do you think that there's a pretty good regression spot here?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're due, right?
Yeah,
but we shouldn't
better
expect
than
them
3
to
for
be
25.
shooting. We shouldn't expect them to be shooting 20% from 3. We should expect them to be shooting around their season average, which is closer to 32%.
Yeah, 3 for 25 is 12%.
Yeah, that's not good. They shot 12% from 3 in that game and won by 17.
And they covered, right?
Yeah, that they did. So the chat agrees with us as well. We are unanimous here. 69% of the vote. Very nice.
Nice.
Is on Auburn to cover here. I'm curious how that goes in the public intoxication. If you or if me and whoever else is on and the chat are all aligned with the public, how often that wins. I need to go back and start compiling some stats.
Yeah, that would be interesting, especially as we roll into March Madness.
Yeah. So again, tempo and pace. Since we got off to a late start, let's hop straight in to category number 3.
Mid-major spotlight.
Millions on the table, that's major. I turn dirt into diamonds, that's major.
So category number 3, mid-major spotlight, has quickly become one of my favorite categories on the stream. I love nothing more than mid-major basketball. And now I get to hopefully entice more people to watch some of it.
It's so important when it rolls into conference tournament play and then the tournament. How many times, Nick, do we see these teams cover or win outright? And then people are like, oh my God, I didn't know about this team. And I'm like, you should have been watching the last few weeks.
Yeah. So the main team that we are highlighting today is University of Vermont, the Catamounts. This is a team, it feels like pretty much every year is the team that comes out of the America East into the NCAA tournament. They're sitting at 20-5 on the year, 12-1 in conference. Their only loss was in their last game, actually, on the road at Hartford in overtime. Also, guys in the chat, let's not argue about, or at least let's not be mean to each other. We can have constructive discussions about games.
ELE, everyone love everyone.
Yep.
I have that tatted on my bottom lip.
Okay, Ryan Switzer.
What was his tattoo again?
I don't remember, but I know that like when he got drafted, he showed it off like on the stage.
Yeah.
And the Steelers had no idea that he had that. Not that it matters at all.
If Gonzaga loses today, I'll get a tattoo on my bottom lip.
Yeah. Okay. I'm holding you to that.
Shit.
So this Vermont team is really good. Definitely, I would say the favored team to be coming out of this conference again this year. They are 8-point favorites on the road at New Hampshire. Over-under in this game set at 133.5. I know that a lot of people on Trent's stream are kind of on the Vermont overs wagon, the train, whatever you want to call it. But this New Hampshire team is no slouch. They're 7-6 in conference, but that kind of puts them in a big cluster in like second or third place in the conference. And this is a team that I like. They're very interesting stylistically. They're not like all that great at anything except for defensive rebounding. They're one of the top 10 defensive rebounding teams in the country.
Because they probably practice it all day, every day in practice.
I mean, maybe, but it's been like that for years with this team. It is a very like intentional stylistic thing. So what that does is against teams that like to shoot a lot of 3-pointers, a big advantage of shooting threes. I mean, obviously, one, if you're good at it and they go in, you get a lot of points. But number 2, you're kind of more likely to secure offensive rebounds off of those threes because they're farther out from the hoop. But that advantage is neutralized against New Hampshire. So I kind of like to take New Hampshire against teams that shoot a lot of threes just for this reason. And Vermont is a team like that. That being said, this Vermont team is extremely good at shooting threes. I mean, they shoot 36.6% from 3. A lot of guys can chuck them up. I'm going to take New Hampshire here, though, plus the points. I think Model has them has Vermont by about 6. So I'll take New Hampshire. What are your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, so I wanted to make the point about Vermont in the American. So they've had John Becker as the head coach there for, I think, over 10. This might be his 10th season. And every season, I've been looking back historically, they always do a really good job conference play, getting ready for the tournament, because that's kind of their mentality, right? Like we're going to win the American, we're going to make a run, or at least try to beat the team in the first round. I don't know if like the coach actually says we're going to make the Final Four, but maybe. Sometimes you have to be realistic. That's a story for another day. The interesting thing with Vermont is earlier in the season, their 3-point percentage was pretty bad. And I unfortunately was on Vermont in a few of those games and on their overs. And I got screwed. Ever since the new year, they've been pretty hot from three. Now, this could be due to the level of competition that they're playing, but they've been pretty consistent from three. And like you mentioned, they shoot a lot of threes. They're good at shooting threes. Nick, I'm going to have to go with Vermont in this spot. It's very close. Like, if this was another point and a half either way, I'd probably lean New Hampshire, but I'm going to go with Vermont.
Yeah, New Hampshire's not a super confident play for me. I've been burned betting against Vermont a couple times this year. Chat certainly agrees with you. 70% of the vote was on Vermont and the over. Although actually, since Vermont and the under and New Hampshire and the over were tied in second place, chat does have a tied lean. So we're going to go Vermont and the over from the chat. Let me get all this set up.
I'm just looking at tempos real quick. It's interesting. Both teams play at a pretty slow pace, but it's this is a weird one, right? Because both teams shoot the three ball well, but they play at a slow pace. So, man, if those threes aren't hitting, this is going under. Pretty simple, I would say.
Yeah, it's like, you remember when we had the Vermont Stony Brook under on Trent's stream, and then Vermont shot like
50%.
No, it was more than 50%. It was like literally the same way that teams that like people who have won the NBA 3-point contest have shot in that.
You know, when people are like, "Oh my God, this team can't miss," I was like, "No, they literally can't miss. Like every shot."
I remember they were 19 of 30 from three.
They went 8 for 9
game.
this stretch, and I was like, "Damn, this is insane."
Yeah, it gives me PTSD. Oh, just a little bit.
This game will go over if the ball goes in the bucket. Yes, but no, for real. If they start missing some threes, yeah.
All right. So let's now move along to category number 4.
Game of the day.
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star.
And no surprise, game of the day here is the rematch between Baylor and Texas Tech. Top 10, or I guess technically not top 10, because Texas Tech is number 11. It's a top 11 matchup. Number 7 Baylor on the road at number 11 Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a 2-point favorite in this game at home. Over under set at 136.5. So these two teams played earlier this year. And Texas Tech in that game at Baylor handed Baylor their first loss of the season. This is fucked. I can move over here. I can move over here. I can move over here. I can move back over here. Oh.
Hey, I'm
Ben's back. Why did you switch sides? Now it says that I'm Ben and that you're Nick.
I have no clue.
All right, yeah, I can just switch the names around. Also, I can't see your video.
Oh, how did it switch though? That's interesting.
I don't know. It's always it switched back. There we go.
Nick, we would just have to act like each other.
So the reason that everything looks so weird is because the way I have this up is I have Discord on a screen over here, and I'm cropping our screens, like our video feeds from Discord, and putting them in the correct spots. So when Ben disappeared, I went from being in a tiny box to being full screen. So that's why my head got a lot bigger and split between the two boxes. But we're back now.
It's not the drugs. It's just
no.
It's what's going on?
It's the drugs.
The drugs have hit.
Anyways, Baylor and Texas Tech. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Man, my initial thought is under. It always is with these teams. But Don't you kind of feel like the public is catching on to these unders with like Texas Tech and the Big 12 matchups and things of that nature?
Yeah, I don't think that we're getting kind of gift lines like we were at the beginning of conference play.
Yeah.
I think that these are pretty fair.
Yeah. So Baylor won at home, like you probably mentioned when I cut out.
No, Texas Tech won.
Or sorry, lost at home. Lost at home. My apologies. Lost at
Yeah.
home. So now we're looking at revenge spot, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, Nick.
And the really important thing that somebody just alluded to, Bailey, is that Baylor is shorthanded today. Baylor, I believe LJ Cryer is still out for Baylor. It says he's returning in late February. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. But the other big injury that I think is potentially even more important is Jonathan Tramwa-Chachua, who went down with Jonathan Chamwa-Chachua. I'm almost certainly mispronouncing that in some way, shape, or form. But he went down early on in their last game against Texas. I believe tore a ligament in his knee and is out for the season. Baylor did manage to win that game against Texas, but this is a huge, huge, huge loss for Baylor. This is a team that's got a lot of talent at guard, but is very thin in the front court. It's really Chamwa-Chachua and Flo Thamba basically split 20 minutes apiece at center. And now without Chamwa-Chachua, what they did last game is they gave freshman Jeremy Sokan a bunch of those minutes, and he's good, but he's raw, and he's more suited for the 4 as opposed to the 5, and I think kind of not being able to play him at the 4 because they really have absolutely no depth behind those two on the inside. I've got to take Texas Tech here with the interior presence that they have.
I lean Texas Tech too as well. My favorite play though, Nick, is going to be the under.
Yeah,
I just think that, even at 136.5, is that what we're still showing? Yeah, 136.5. You know what's interesting though is there has been a move to the over. It opened at 136, 136.5 is now the number, but model likes the under. I just think, again, it could be just a square angle, but Big 12 action, teams know each other. I think it's going to be a slow pace, and if we can get a close game at times, it's always that weird margin, right, Nick? If it's within a possession, you get really good defense, you can get a lack of fouls and free throws, but if it gets into that 5 to 6 point range, that's when the foul game just got out of control. But I think with these two teams, I'm expecting a close game, but I think Texas Tech will pull it out in the under.
Yeah, I think that's definitely where I would lean as well on the side. So chat actually in this one liked Baylor a lot. The poll disappeared for me, but I did see that Baylor and the under was the number one winner. But the other Baylor option got more votes than the other under option.
Yeah, it looks
so chat is on Baylor +2. And I think if Baylor is healthy in this game, I would be all over Baylor +2. They were, again, in that game against Texas Tech, they were favored by 11.5 points. But I do kind of think that the switch from being at Baylor to at Texas Tech, plus the loss of Cryer, plus the loss of Chamwa-Chachua, is enough to swing this all the way in Texas Tech's favor. All right. It is time to move along now to category number 5, our best bets of the day. But chat, as always, in order to know what you guys are on, your favorite bets of the day, we need to hear from you in the chat. So if your favorite bet today is a spread pick, give me the team and the line. If it's a money line, give me the team and the money line. And if it's a total, give us both teams and the number that it's at. Don't have time to look everything up. So start typing away. I'm going to play the category intro real quick, and then Ben will figure out what to put in the poll. Pressure's on Ben.
Big brain plays.
Come on. Think. Brain blast!
So I see we've got a very confident Valpo plus 10.
Yeah, that's going in. I'm putting that one
Very
in just because
confident.
I like the confidence.
Uh-huh.
Gonzaga minus 30 for Ben.
Here,
we
Ben.
get a few more, I'll put
this,
it in there.
this is on you now. You've got to figure out what to throw in the poll. Again,
It's so
this
fun.
is usually my job, but I couldn't sign into the account today. 2FA
Okay.
wasn't working.
We got Purdue. Purdue's going in there.
I'm just gonna sit back and relax.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Got 2. We usually do 4, right?
5.
5. Okay. Campbell, that's interesting. Illinois. Wait, the same guy put Illinois twice, trying to trick me there. Utah Valley. See, we got a Rutgers now, so. Wait, who does Notre Dame play again?
Notre Dame plays Boston College.
Okay. We could put Notre Dame. What's the spread again? It's going quickly.
Spread is
Minus 6.5, I think, or 7.
minus 9.
Oh, minus 9. I don't know why I saw. Okay. Let me try to get a total here. A lot of people are going against each other in the poll.
Yeah,
It's
here.
making it extremely difficult. Mm-hmm. I have how do you feel about Mississippi State,
Throw it in
Alabama
there.
under?
Just gotta make some decisions.
Okay, Mississippi State, Bama under. Give me a number there, Nick.
Under
It's moving so
150.
quickly. Under 150.
Yeah.
Okay. Under 150, and then Gonzaga.
Ben's getting a little newfound respect for the poll management. It's an underrated kind of tough thing to be doing.
I know, especially when you're on stream too,
Uh-huh.
trying to process it. It's like flying a spaceship where you're trying to like mission control it and like. Okay,
All right.
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Yeah. So send the poll. And then Ben.
Oh, I said favorite game of the day, but we know favorite
yeah,
bet. That's
So Ben, what about you? What is
You start,
your...
Nick.
Oh, I'll start. Okay.
my head's about to explode. I need to think.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
So I am going to take the what feels like the squarest pick you could ever take. I'm gonna take Gonzaga today, money line.
Ooh.
No, just kidding. Not money line.
Money line.
Money line is a lock, but I like Gonzaga minus 30.5 on the road at Pepperdine today as my favorite pick. And the reason for this is that Gonzaga is really good. I mean, obviously they're really good, but Pepperdine is really bad, and Pepperdine plays fast. That's another reason why I feel comfortable laying this 30.5. And I don't care how square you call it. The only thing I care about is being right or wrong. Correct bets are sharp bets. I don't lay the points with Gonzaga every time they play. I have several times this year though, and I don't think I've lost betting on Gonzaga this year. You've got to be selective with this team, but I think that this is a good spot for them. So they beat this Pepperdine team earlier in the year at home by how many points? By a lot of points. By 34. It was 117 to 83. Gonzaga on the road this year, aside from their games at UCLA and at Duke, which were actually not even true road games. Those were neutral site games. They've won every road game that they've played this year by 30 plus. So it's not even a thing about being on the road. They beat Central Michigan by 53 on the road. Central Michigan is slightly worse than this Pepperdine team, but not by much. They beat an excellent Santa Clara team by 32 points on the road. The Santa Clara team is a bubble team for March. They beat San Diego, who is a much better team than Pepperdine and also a team that plays extremely slow. They beat them by 30 on the road. And they beat BYU, a team who's probably going to have, or maybe not anymore, but could still get a single-digit seed in the NCAA tournament by 33 on the road. Every time I take Gonzaga, people say, that's square, that's silly, not touching it. That's okay. That's okay. I like it here.
And Nick, I wanted to make the point their last game was weird outlier, in my opinion.
Against
the last
St. Mary's? Or the last time these teams played?
St. Mary's. The last 5 minutes of that game, I think Gonzaga only scored. Couldn't have been more than 10 points, which for Gonzaga, that's a bad stretch.
They went 6 minutes without scoring at all.
That's insane. And I remember watching that, and it was such a weird finish. Like, you usually don't see that with Gonzaga. Usually they continue to score. I mean, they did hit that three with about a minute left, but I think they're going to come out. I mean, they scored 117 on them last time they played. So.
Yeah, I mean, and St. Mary's is a nationally ranked team with one of the best defenses in the country.
Mm-hmm. And also, Nick, on that total, huge move, which I think in your case that helps support the bigger spread. Would you agree?
Yeah, because if there's more points, Gonzaga, it's just more baskets to build out the lead.
100%. Alrighty, Nick, you ready for mine?
Yep.
So we are going to go to the Big Ten. We are going to go to the Purdue Northwestern game. And we are going to go with the under 147. So my case for this one, Nick, is Northwestern is a team that at home will try to slow the pace down. And they have been sound defensively. In their last matchup, they played, I just lost it. They played Indiana at home. Indiana was their last home game. That was a 59-51 game. Now, Rutgers was before that. That game did go into overtime, so a little misleading on the final score. But with a big team like Purdue coming in, I think the only way that Northwestern has any chance to win this game is if they slow down the pace. Because we all know that Purdue's more talented offensively. I mean, they have the better players. And I think that's going to carry to the idea of Northwestern slowing it down. I just think 147 is too many points in this spot. I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that this is a pretty interesting look. I've been on Northwestern unders a couple times this year.
Oh yeah, the Illinois people can't touch it. I hate that rule.
It's stupid. Illinois and New York and New Jersey. I think those are the only 3 states that have that rule.
There was another one trying to enact it, but it doesn't make sense because people just try to find other ways to bet it. So
yeah. But I think that this is a good look. So Purdue is not really the type of team to fly up and down the court, and I agree that Northwestern's path to victory here is really keeping the game in the half court. So I like this under as well.
Yeah, and then as far as the side goes, man, I don't know. It's going to be.
I think chat likes Purdue. I didn't see the poll finish up. Ben, can you view results?
Yeah, let's view results. Let's see what we got here. Purdue running away with it, 14 votes, -6, and then second was Mississippi State Bama, the under. Not a lot of love for Valpo, Gonzaga, or Notre Dame.
That's okay. So let's now, while we have a couple minutes, take some time to talk about some games that chat was interested in. A lot of people wanted us to talk about UNLV. So UNLV is on the road today at Fresno State. Fresno State is a 6-point favorite, over under set at 126 and a half. Do you have any thoughts on this game, Ben? A lot of chat liked UNLV plus the points here.
Well, UNLV is a team that, if they get hot, they can win this game outright. And I actually lean with UNLV money line more than the spread, if that makes sense. I think when you have a team like UNLV that can get so hot from three at times, I just naturally look at a money line if it's within. I mean, to be honest, Nick, almost every team that they would play in their conference, you're not going to see a spread over 8, maybe. I'm just trying to think of hypothetically what would be the biggest spread we would see
For,
I guess on the road
for
against
a UNLV game.
Yeah, I guess on the road against like a.
I mean, it's tough. A lot of the best teams are slow.
Yeah.
Which takes spreads and lowers them. I think that they were like 8-point dogs at Colorado State.
1 hour.
No, they were 14-point dogs at Colorado State.
Yeah, and they won by they did the reverse spread.
Yeah.
They covered the reverse spread. Yeah, and that first half, I think it was Hamilton. Bryce Hamilton was on fire. 11. I mean, they shot 12 for 29.
He scored 45 points in that game.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think naturally, if I like UNLV, you have to like the over. I think those are very correlated.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Model also likes UNLV to cover. I've got Fresno State by 4.
Shout out Jordan McCabe. He follows us on TikTok. That's kind of cool.
Nice.
He used to go to West Virginia.
So what about Miami and Louisville? Or not Miami. Yeah. Miami.
You talk
and
about that one. I don't have a lot of opinions on that.
Okay. So this game is one of those games that feels extremely trappy. Because, like, why is it only a 1-point spread?
Okay, crabs.
Right? No, I mean, like, if this game was tomorrow, I would play the trap card category intro, and then we'd be talking about this game with crabs tomorrow. At the same time, though, I just don't see it. I like Miami here. Does it feel square? Yes, it feels like too good to be true, which gives me a lot of hesitation. And that is not something that would make me bet on Louisville. It would make me fade the game. It wouldn't make me go against my lean. Model likes Miami. I think another thing that's kind of important here, I was looking into this game a lot. So Miami, the way that they get beat is inside. They run 4 guards. They don't have a whole lot of proper size inside. They are the 3rd worst power conference team defending the 2-point shot. They're like 315th in the country in 2-point field goal percentage allowed. But Louisville is a team that jacks up a ton of threes. And so I don't know matchup wise if Louisville can adjust to exploit that. If they do adjust, if they do try and play an inside-out game, I think that Louisville has a much better chance. I think if Louisville tries to kind of just play their standard game and try and outshoot them from 3, it's not going to happen. And I'd like Miami there.
And Nick, I think this is a good point for me to discuss this topic. When you have these games where the line just looks a little fishy, right? Like to the point where you're like, what the hell? The first thing that goes through my mind is, what am I missing, right?
Yeah, there's got to be, it's either injuries and there's not injuries here. Or there's like some kind of very specific matchup that a team can exploit.
Yeah. And then the second thing is like, why would we box, when I say we as bettors, I don't like boxing yourself in a corner and thinking like, oh, I want to take Louisville because this is so trappy. like there's something going on. They're only getting like, they're only dogs by this amount of points. And then the other angle is like, oh, we got to take Miami. This is a joke. They're only getting 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not forced to bet every game. There's so many games today. So that's just my opinion. I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah. And another thing that I don't like is like, I don't like betting against a team because it feels trappy, right? Like there has to be something about the actual basketball matchup that you like about Louisville.
Mm-hmm. And Nick, also to that, I like to go from the angle of if it feels trappy, then fade it. And then even if the team you would have bet won, you can sit there and be like, oh, I knew it. But at the same time, I would rather be in that position than try to guess and be on the wrong end of this. Because now you're down units.
Absolutely.
So, knowledge is power.
That it is.
Yeah. Anything else, guys, before we hop off here?
There was one other game. I don't really have any strong opinions on it, but the Bama Mississippi State game was one that was coming up quite a bit.
Oh yeah, we talked about that a little bit before we started, right? This is a spot where Bama lost.
Also on Boston College, I have absolutely no thoughts on that game.
Boston College is ugly. Ugh.
Yeah, I also don't know if I can trust Notre Dame to win by 9. That's a fade game for me.
Mm-hmm.
Same with St. John's and Xavier. That's a fade spot for me.
Yeah. Air Force money line, Nick? No, I'm just kidding. Nick's favorite team.
But Ben, do you have anything about Alabama, Mississippi State? That was again another one that I just didn't have a good feel for the game.
Mississippi State has had some pretty drastic home road splits. I'm just seeing if those have continued over the last few games.
Yeah, I mean their last several games they've lost. I hate betting on anything involving Alabama.
Yeah.
Just on principle, because it's just, do they get hot from 3 or do they go cold from 3? And that in and of itself is what determines the spread, and it's what determines the total. So
yeah, the under was popular.
Yeah.
At least in here. Is that just, did Alabama have an under last game too? I kind of feel like
they played a game in the 130s against Arkansas.
See, this is a spot I wouldn't want to be on the under in this spot after like 2 games where both teams went pretty much under significantly. Our model has it right around 150, so slightly under, but that's just my thoughts there.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna call it there. If anybody has more questions, I see a lot of comments about other games in the chat. You can head over to our Discord. There is a link to that in the chat right now. You can feel free to just hop in there, ask some questions. But it is time to head on over to the Book It stream.
I'm gonna do a raid, Nick.
Okie dokie. But thank you.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much.
To everyone for tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be awesome. Not that today wasn't awesome, but we've got me and Krabs and taking the points tomorrow. TTP making his Capwise stream debut. TTP is absolutely amazing content, so be sure to...
Hopefully he has his Mickey Mouse hat on.
I mean, I might make him.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We're going to raid the Book It stream. We will see you guys over there.
Yep. Peace.
Later.